Hello everybody, today I'm reviewing a game system. 501 O-Youth Joystick Game Console WoW Super Game Box Sup with double game. I am so confused. I bought this game system off Amazon for $27. The features are what attracted me to it. From the back of the box, it says 8-bit rocker game console. Well, I listen to heavy metal, so I really want a rocker game console. It supports Handheld connecting and two-person dual. Ergonomic host structure design. My 4 favorite words. The color matching of red and blue is more fashionable, novel, and fashionable. So to me, since it says fashionable twice, you're gonna have 2 times to fashion. In all seriousness, this is one of the many questionable gaming devices being sold on Amazon. In the listing, it says it has 500 classic games built in, and the screenshot shows the original Super Mario Bros. For the NES on it, although it looks slightly different. It has the numerals 25 in place of where the question marks usually are. This made me think that maybe this was packed with NES games, or at least slightly altered ones. I'll get to the games in a minute. I was also intrigued by some of the questions that the company answered within the Amazon listing. What Mario games are included in the series? Can you list them all? The Mario series of games includes Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Bros. 6, and other Mario games. That's where I really started to question this thing. They are acting like Super Mario Bros. 6 is a legit thing. Let's get this thing opened. It comes with composite cables for hooking it up to a TV. So that's going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people who would prefer HDMI. You just know the picture quality isn't going to be that good. There's also a charging cable, and it's mini USB, not micro USB. So it comes with this separate controller, and that's for the second player. I guess that's what they mean by double game. And it connects into the charging slot. The screen does have a protector on it that you peel off. You really have to stick your nail under there to find it. I noticed the instruction manual call it the Retro FC. That wording is not on the box at all. I think these things just get passed around and rebranded all the time. Now the buttons, to be honest, just feel a little cheap. That's expected, but the little crystal buttons are pretty cool looking and they feel pretty good. Now the buttons on the separate control pad felt a little bit better. Unfortunately, I could not find a way to actually play a one-player game using this pad. You have to use the system itself. This pad only works in 2-player games from what I can figure out. At the top, we have the on-off switch. We have the jack for the TV output. That is not a headphone jack. The USB out and the volume control. On the back is a battery compartment, and it looks like it has a generic cell phone battery within it. And then you also see the speaker on the back there. The listing shows these people playing the system. I looked pretty closely at what they were holding, and it was not this game system. And in fact, there's no wires. There should be a wire that connects the 2 systems if they're playing 2-player. But they do have a little commercial, which has a rearranged version of the Mario song. It's funny how Nintendo would go after other YouTubers, but they won't go after crap like this, which is probably breaking a lot of laws. When you turn the device on, you're greeted by some NES-style music. In fact, it may have been lifted from a NES game. Let me know if you recognize it. So like I said, there's 500 games, so the menu is quite large. You may notice that some of the games are actual names of NES games, but there's also some famous arcade games like Frogger and Burger Time. There's a lot of NES games, especially the black box games. And then there's sequels to those games that were never officially released. So I think they're hacks or something. And then there's a boatload of games that I've never heard of. I believed that they just went to some website and downloaded a bunch of ROMs and crammed it onto this thing. They probably don't realize there's actually no Super Mario Bros. 6. I found out something about this list that makes me pull out my hair. First though, I want to show you some of the games. Keep in mind, I'm playing these games through my camera. Even without the camera though, there is lag for all of these. The first game is Angry Bird, singular. And wow, this looks like an 8-bit hack of the Angry Birds game. There's not that many options on how you aim the bird, and some of the physics are very off. The music is annoying, but it plays okay. If I didn't know anything about the actual Angry Birds, I would say that this was an okay game. So let's play Contra 1, which I assume is the original Contra on the NES. When you select it though, a second menu comes up with even more Contras on it, so I'm a little bit confused. This looks like something that they ripped off of EverDrive or something. I don't know. If this looks familiar, let me know. I'm just going to go up to the first one and select the one that just says Contra. And I can tell that the screen is stretched a little bit. Basically, it's emulating the original game. Now let's go to Super Contra 6. And Super Contra 6 is either a hack or is this Contra Force? I'm not sure. I don't recognize it. I've never played Contra Force. And I'm having trouble getting the guy to do what I want him to do. And now for the big one, Super Mario Bros. And the music is playing a lot faster. It's almost like when the timer gets low and the music speeds up. That's about how fast it's going. Now notice it doesn't have those 25s. It actually has the question marks or whatever. Once again, I can tell that the screen is stretched because those squares are not perfectly square. Now let's go all the way to the most recent Super Mario Bros. Release, Super Mario Bros. 16. And wow. They hacked some other NES game apparently, some caveman type game, and they stuck Mario in it, and boy is the jumping delayed. It's very hard for me to maneuver here. Next up is Mortal Kombat 4. Combat is spelled with a C. I'm not sure what's going on with this character select screen. It looks like they've copied and pasted the same faces multiple times, and they have applied different colors to some of them. And it plays horribly. I'm playing a striker here and I'm getting my butt kicked. There's tremendous delay and the controls don't make much sense. I think it's an 8-bit hack of Mortal Kombat 3. So let's do Toy Story. I wonder if they paid to have the license. And Toy Story appears to be a hack of Bomberman for the NES. I think they've inserted Woody in there and called it a day. I think this is just a hack that they got off a site. They don't know that that's not an actual release. I'm going to pick some games here that I'm just curious about. This is called Awful Rushing. This seems to be just a simple dodging game, and because of the delay, I wasn't able to actually get anywhere with it, but it gets really old quickly. The music is very repetitive. I'm curious about this game, Violent, and it looks like Secros. Or Secros. I guess it has a little bit of violence in it because you run into things. Here's Combata, and I was hoping that this would be a port of Combat for the 2600, but I don't know what this is, but I can't get this guy to jump when I want him to. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. Now for Fruit Dish. From what I can tell, you have to flip through the fruit that's falling and make it match the fruit that's in the box at the bottom of the screen there. I hope it's not that simple, because if so, then this is barely a game. It doesn't even make a good mini game. Here's Pocky. I thought maybe it would be a port of Pocky and Rocky, but that does not appear to be the case. I don't know what this is. And now for IQ Champion, and I don't care what this turns out to be. It's my favorite of the 500 just by the name alone. It's a shoot 'em up, basically, and I don't know what's going on. The enemies are turning into hearts, and there's like a hummingbird going around collecting the hearts. This is a very deep game, apparently, and my IQ is not high enough to understand it. Now for Joust. I used to play Joust in the arcade, and this does not look like that. I would assume that this is a port. Did they ever have a port on the NES? I think they did. If not, this is a port of one of the Atari ones. This one plays decently. If I had to play a game on this thing, it would be this one. I really wanted to play Frogger, but it would not work. And then this one caught my eye, Nuts Milk. To make a long story short, I could not figure out how to play it. I hit buttons sometimes and nothing happens. Here's Radish Field, and this is another one that I couldn't figure out how to play. I think you're supposed to gather all the carrots and avoid the non-carrots. I don't know. When I was going through the list of games, I noticed I was seeing some of the games repeated, and I thought maybe, okay, they accidentally duplicated a couple of them or something, but there seemed to be a lot of them. I couldn't find a list online anywhere of the actual games. So what I did is I opened up Excel and typed in the name of every single game that's listed. And to my surprise, I found around 200 duplicate game names. 199 to be exact. So that means there's only 301 games on this whole thing. You might say, well, maybe they accidentally called two different games the same name. I spot checked a lot of them and they were duplicate games. So they're telling everybody that this has 500 games in it, but it only has 301. They have to know that that's incorrect, because there's just way too many duplicates. So people are being fooled. I know a lot of you are saying, what do you expect? You pick this cheap gaming device off of Amazon. I would at least expect them to live up to what they promise. I'll mention a couple of other things. I did test out the 2-player capability of the system and it seems to work, but you would both have to crowd around the small screen. Unless you want to play it on the TV. If you want to play it on the TV, you have to have a composite input. I think they still have those on most TVs. And as expected, it does not look good blown up on a big TV, coming through composite, which is already a low quality signal, with the delay that the system already has, an added delay from the TV converting the composite signal so that you can see it on the screen. I had to tweak the TV, but it ended up being stretched a little bit. So in conclusion, I want to quote one of my ex-coworkers. She used to say things were a hot mess. Like, that's a hot mess, that's a hot mess. I'm going to use her terms for this thing, and I'm going to say this is a hot mess. Consider becoming a Patreon member for only $1. You'll get early access to my videos, and you'll also get bonus videos that feature behind the scenes stuff. There's also a video linked on the screen. It's the one where I talk about how I played a Dreamcast more than any other system. May your games make you happy and smart, and may people respect you for playing them.